We'll try to keep it. Seen that warning before. That's so funny. All right, so I have a couple of things that I have on my to-do list, but I'd like to just kind of open it up to what do you guys, how's the class going? What kind of questions do you have? Suggestions, feedback? And let me first start it off with, I love Sassy, and I'm here for you. This class is about your learning. It's not about my ego or what we're doing here. So I want you to feel comfortable to actually share what your thoughts are. So start with that.
Silence. No. Nobody. Well, I think I wanted to ask about, because of course I didn't get a chance to look at the newest module until today, and I was wondering about the workshop.
Okay.
Have a lot of other people gotten together to do that together? Because I noticed it said you could do up to 3 people.
So let me first say that I'm taking an online class myself, and I didn't do jack squat the whole week. And then I emailed the teacher. I'm like, wow, this chapter reading is really dumb. It's like super basic, and it's like I should have read it a week ago. And so that's normal. That you say that the module's over tomorrow and that you haven't started it yet. So no judgment.
Hey, I could stay up all night and get that done.
Yeah.
I don't want you to. So let me start it off with saying this. I watched the video from last week, and I've seen what you guys have been doing, and I feel like we need a little time to kind of like regroup and catch up on some things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel Module 4.
Okay.
And
I saw that, Andrea.
Unless there's some, complaints, I'm gonna post some pieces of Module 4, but I'm not going to make them required at all.
Okay.
Because I want to give you a chance to, because there's a few things that I really value. So if I could start off with that, if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I really think you practicing how to be good searchers, like with a Google search, is important. And because I really believe in my soul that the future of education is not transmitting information. It's about helping kids to find good information how they know it's good information. Okay. And what I want you to be as educators is somebody who helps kids to find and search, and that search is the new literacy. And if you can take some time to do that Google search MOOC, I think it's really good, and I would love to hear you say otherwise. And I mean that in the most sincere way possible. Like, if you don't think so, don't be afraid to say so. But I think you'll get a lot out of it. I'm sorry. Interrupt me, please. Anyway, so I really want you to spend time doing the Google search MOOC, and I know it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I think it's worthwhile. And again, please let me know if you disagree with that. And then the Google a day, I'm hoping that that's something kind of fun to do to help you practice those skills, that gives you ideas of things that you could do with your students. And I really want both of those things to be impactful for what you do as a teacher.
Okay.
Google a day. I just got started on this yesterday. Things have been crazy, but everybody's alive, so that's what counts. The Google a day, I started it yesterday. It's still the same question today. Is it like a 24-hour period that it works in?
Does it?
I'm asking if anybody else has had experience with it, because
I've been using it, and it changes, but I'm enjoying it. I kind of like it.
I like it. I'm just waiting for you to get a question.
It'll give you categories of questions, so I'm wondering if you can switch to a different category. I've tried and it won't let me.
Okay, so maybe, let's try, if you can give me some feedback on how to make it work, or if I should just cancel it altogether. My intention is to just give you some practice that you feel like your search skills have increased, so that you can help students, guide them better on how to search. Because everyone thinks they know how to search. We do not know how to search. You talk to somebody who works at Google for just a few minutes, you'll just realize, like, holy cow, I don't know anything. And myself included, I think I'm pretty good at finding information, but even I know that, like, advanced search techniques, I need a lot more practice at that. And
totally practice. I don't know what I'm doing when I'm searching, so being able to do that with students is very intimidating.
Exactly. So there's several things. I think, the future of, and I know I keep saying this, but I really just feel like I need to, because I feel like with my professors, it feels like there's this, there's them and there's me, and that you shouldn't disagree with them. And I really would like to close that gap, and that I don't know everything, and I'm going to admit that. And I mean, I know a lot of things, but especially in the field that we're in, there's so much to learn, and there's no way you could know everything. And all the time I talk to people who, like, I am now best friends with the guy who invented Google Spreadsheet, and I show him my spreadsheets. Like, how intimidating do you think that would be, right? Like, look at this, isn't this cool? And and even I've showed him some things that he didn't know, and vice versa. And I think that we just need to admit that there's more than we could possibly know.
Yeah.
I like
Catlin Tucker and whatever, and I show her a keyboard shortcut that you'd think everybody knows. She doesn't.
And I like that what you were saying about our professors, especially when you start the thesis process, you guys. It's just you get a book thrown at you that says this is how you do your thesis. So, the support is not there the way I was hoping it would be. And yes, she's right. The search, if they could give us more tangible, real stuff of how to search, rather than check the ERIC, database, or I'm sorry, it doesn't. Sometimes there's nothing there, and what we're doing is so cutting edge, and the things that we're learning about, that it's not there yet. So that's something that I find I want to be that teacher for my students, that they don't have a question that I can't answer when it comes to that.
No, we want to have questions we can't answer.
No, I mean, you know what I mean. I go to them and ask, where do I go to find this? And go to the ERIC. It's like there's only a few places they know to go, and they don't give me a lot of options, and that bothers me.
Yeah, I just want to say I love Google Scholar.
Yeah.
I pretty much only use Google Scholar. Is that wrong?
I hope not. Now I'm going to use it.
It pulls from so many different places. I just love Google Scholar. And the APA citation is probably 90% of the time perfect.
Oh, wow.
And then when I do that, when I copy the APA site, you still have to check it. Still check it. But when I check the APA citation, when I do it from the Boise State Library, because I can't figure out how to get into the FPU library, not so much.
I have found a site for my high school students that I feel like it's pretty good for that age group. It's sweetsearch.com. Sweetsearch.com is, what's cool about it is if you look on it, all of the searches, you can type in anything to research, and you'll see a list of edus, .orgs, everything that's pretty reliable and not a bunch of junk. And I've been pretty lucky with how they search through that.
Is that sweet in terms of candy, or sweet in terms of, okay.
I found that, Gigi, and the link I found it on, or I don't know if it was on, I don't know where I was when I found it, but it was broken, so I don't know. Is it sweetsearch.com, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Will you post that on the G+, Gigi?
Yeah.
So, first of all, I would encourage all of you to email frank but polite feedback, because we're professionals, so let's act like that. But to Henrietta, I would, I didn't want those papers anyway. But Henrietta really cares about this program, Henrietta Siemens, and she wants it to be really good, and she recognizes that there are some things that are lacking. Her and I have had multiple conversations. And so I would really, really encourage you to just email her with an understanding that nobody's evil in this program, and no one's trying to torture you, and no one's trying to give you a bad experience. So, don't be like, this freaking sucks. Like, okay, that's just not professional. But just to say, this really wasn't gelling with me. This is my feedback and my suggestions. Just want to pass it along. And I think you should do that often.
Okay.
Gigi, like what you just said, I think that's great feedback. You should share that. I mean, we want the program to be better. And you know what? I'm not doing this for the money. They're not paying me very much money. And I have 11 jobs, depending on how you count it. I don't need this. The reason that I'm teaching this class is because I like FPU's philosophy about being a follower of Christ. And I want to work with Christians. That's me. That's my reason. And I think that this program needs to be good, and it needs to perpetuate for Christians to have a place to band together, because that's not always the case in ed tech. And I think that if you go to some different conferences and things, you'll see some really not Christian things going on. And so I love that. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to the FPU campus or talked to people that work there, but my experience, because I don't know if you guys know that I wrote the Innovative Educator Advanced Study Certificate between Q and FPU. I had such a positive experience working with Fresno Pacific. Like, they have less bureaucracy than any organization I've had to work with. And they're just lovely, lovely people to work with. And they want to have a good program, and that's going to happen because we give them feedback and we're persistent about it. Don't accept mediocrity. Nobody wants that.
I got my bachelor's through Fresno Pacific, the management program that they had, and we would meet one day a week for the 13-month program, and I just the community. I think that's what I like the most about it, is I feel like we're a community of caring people that help each other get through and do the best that we can do. We prayed at the beginning of every class. I became so close to those people, and it was sad to, well, it wasn't sad when we graduated, but it was sad to say goodbye because I haven't got to really see them since then. That was back in 2001. So it's a great place, positive place.
So Gigi, let me ask you, and this is not to point fingers, but do you feel like that experience translates to the online program?
Well, it's beginning to, because of you. I haven't had this. This is my only class, and honestly, this is my last class for the program, and it's sad, but I never got to do this with any other class. So for going forward, for those of you that are just starting or going forward, this needs to happen. This is important. I love sharing. I love seeing people share with me, and you feel like you're not the only one out there with those questions, or you're learning with an online class, but when you have this type of community experience, you feel like you got people in your corner and you don't feel alone. That's important. That's really important.
Yeah. I agree. I went through the credential, my bachelor's and credential through FPU, and I still am friends with all of those people that I was with, because it's that whole experience. It's the same, and I do like doing this. I mean, I think it's, like you said, we're sharing on the website, and then we're also getting to talk now, and it's just that whole personal connection.
Right.
And I think FPU is, even then I remember thinking, I think I'm doing way more than a lot of other programs in my credential program, but I think it was good. It was all good more.
Yeah.
And it was worth it, because so many of the people went through other programs and they didn't end up having the same background or foundation.
Are you talking about the FPU credential program? I think it's top notch.
Yeah.
And definitely. Okay, shh. I teach in the credential program at Fresno State.
I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for that one class, that RECA would have been much tougher than it was. that class that you remember, right, Sam?
Yes.
That class is amazing. And
Yes, it is.
mine was actually taught by a first grade teacher who
Oh,
used her
nice.
students as our pen pals. And we got to explore what they were writing and pick apart and learn from them. And that, I mean, just what an innovative, way of learning.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. Most definitely.
Awesome. I love hearing that.
Mhm.
So anyway, I have a passion that I want the online program to be like that. The community and things that I'm really into community. That doesn't mean I have all the answers, but I try.
Yeah.
And I talk to Henrietta every time I talk to her. I really appreciate what she wants to do for the program, but then I say, look, I don't want to be here if it's just silos of classes. I want you guys, like, you should come out of this is my opinion. You should come out of this program feeling like I want to buy the shirt.
Yeah.
Like I belong here. I'm connected to it.
Mhm.
And so I want to be a part of something. I don't want to teach a class. That doesn't appeal to me. So I really, really value your feedback, and I know that Henrietta does too, and I hope that you will share that with her.
And I was hoping that they could improve their end of every session or end of every module or whatever you call it, class. They give you a Likert scale, evaluation of the teacher, and it's not an evaluation like the answers that you get to choose from. It's just, I don't feel that it's going to be helpful. It's just, if you've got a student who didn't do well, they may skew the whole thing because there's only certain choices that you can answer. You don't get to put in, a lot about your own opinion and where they could have improved it. So, and it's focused on the instructor, not on the course itself. And I don't think that's right. I think it should be both,
I agree. Teresa, do you have any comments?
This is my 4th class, and I've been absolutely thrilled with the rigor, with the expectations, with the flexibility, with the mercy, the humility. My experience has been nothing but positive.
Thank you. Great.
Yeah, and I'm a mother too, so I will tell you when I'm not happy. But I really will if I need.
I want it.
Yeah, so don't think that. But I have had nothing in. I mean, just connecting the way that it's been set up, where we feel free to connect with each other, because I know this project that we're doing now. Tony and I don't know how we've managed it because he's got a crazy schedule and so do I, but it's just working out, and I feel a strong connection to him, and I don't even know what he really looks like. Is that really his picture? And then Gigi, you going on, and I felt from the beginning that you were experienced and you were going out ahead of us in this course to guide us and give us good examples and give us some really good information. So I'm always behind you trying to check out what you're doing and I mean the same with Sam. I know that she's super busy, and I always look forward to everything that she puts up.
Yeah.
And I love that literacy assessment. I want to give everybody 4s just because I know it's tough to go to school online and be a working professional and a parent. But I think just like with my own students, it's about effort and continuing to improve always. So
I'm sure I shared this with you, what my dissertation is about. If I were to design this class for myself, I would have some things that are even more different than what it is. I mean, I'm definitely balancing what the university wants me to do and me. I hate grades. I do not like grades. I don't think they're very meaningful. I hate calling people failures, and I think we do that way too often with our K-12 students. I would just, research that I find is that people would rather have meaningful feedback than a letter grade, but we accept a letter grade as feedback because that's really all we get.
Right.
And I hear what you're saying about giving everybody a 4. I love failure, and I think that there's a lot to be learned from failure, especially if you get good feedback. So I think that that's really hopefully the takeaway is to get good feedback, and I'm going to try and give you some good feedback.
Yeah, and I think if it's hard to look past the score, and it's just like our own students, but if you have the score with the meaningful feedback, then of course,
Yeah.
yes.
I dream of a future that it doesn't have to be with, that it's just.
Right.
That's.
And I have to say, coming from a teacher with my students, they love audio feedback. If you can give audio feedback, SoundCloud is amazing. Use it. SoundCloud, it can connect to your lessons. You can, and I like it because they get to hear my voice. They get to hear me talk about how they did, my expectations, little disappointment if there was a disappointment. But at the same time, it resonates because they're not reading it. Sometimes they don't read what you write when you are grading. You know, go figure, right?
Well, they crumple it up. You see it. It's in a paper ball within a second because it's so hard to face. Yeah.
And
if you know someone cares, you can the feedback.
That's
you
right.
Can take any kind of feedback.
Right.
If you know that they care. Yeah.
Yeah. So heck with the red pen, throw it away. You know. I'll even say in some of my feedback, I'll have a little bit of more of a firm voice, and I'll say, and this would have been my red pen, but this is my voice instead.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You hit it the nail on the head. Immediate feedback is the key, and so I mean, what I'm doing for my dissertation is applying gamification to the gradebook. That's my passion, and that's one of the things we learn from games is that immediate feedback, and that failure is not the end. You know, it's just you have to have failure in order to have success. You have to. So why do we burn that in the grade book? Why do we do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because it's something that's always been done. It's this, you know, that's why it's not a good reason.
Partly that I do, like, I'm doing all this research, right, for my dissertation, and they're, like, going all the way back to 1928, there's just so much research to show that this is messed up.
Yeah. But you know, we've got so much pressure from parents. When they saw the new thing that came out years ago called a rubric, they flipped. And I don't know about you, but seeing the response, and these are people that are my age that had kids going through school when that came through, and they were angry. Wait, that doesn't tell me how my kid's doing. That an A would tell me if they're doing great. You know, they wanted that basic A, B, C grade, and I think we're going to have, it's a culture thing. I really do believe that. I don't know. I think that there's ways of changing it. I like what you're saying with your dissertation. It's got to start from the top down, though.
Yeah. Well,
but
I think it's the student population.
I got rid of grades, and I did these kinds of things, and you just need to be prepared that if you're going to do something outside of the box, to sell it. Yeah. And I had to talk to every parent, and I say, you know what? I don't want to call your kid a failure, and I don't want to treat your kid like cattle. Your kid's an individual, and I want to, the best that I can, address their needs and what's good for them, and this just is not good for them. And 100% of the time, I was able to get the parent on my side. But you got to make that phone call, and you got to be willing to do it.
You're right.
Well, this was done through a full school-wide thing. This was before I went to Minarets, and it was just kind of like dropped on everyone. So you're right. It wasn't done in the right way, and I don't think people will respond positively unless you prepare them for that. I like basic, this is me personally, my students are excited about work that they're turning in when I tell them, and our whole thing at our school is go big, go pro, post it online, get people out there talking about your story. They use Wattpad.com, they use Bookrics.com, they post their stories, they make them look like real books. They get feedback from people. That's what that's what's driving them to keep writing. So that, to me, is more important than an isolated classroom where a teacher gives you a grade. It needs to be broader. It needs to be, you know, out there.
Tony, do you have anything you want to throw in there?
For me, like my kids in my class, I always tell them, I just want you guys to learn. I want you to start. When you come into my classroom, I just want to see growth. I go, that grade to me doesn't mean anything, but that's the way schools work. But I can see it, and I'll tell your parents, you started here and look where you're at now. Even right now in summer school, the majority of kids that I have, I mean, they're kids that don't do no work during the school year. So now they're doing work. They're like, hey, we're learning. It's because you want to. You gotta, like right now, I'm passionate about learning. So I'm trying to rub off on them so they can be passionate about learning. Yeah. Like I introduced them to chess. They're all like, well, we don't know how to play. Well, we're going to learn how to play. So we take 30 minutes a day for summer school to play chess, and they're playing each other. And they learned, and they're going at it. Now they all want to play against me. I'm the chess king of the class, but I'm like, I'm learning how to play it too. I did it when I was small for a little bit, but that's it. But you see how they just want to learn. If you give them that chance, something different, get out of the norm and stuff. It's just that passion just to rub off on them to get them to want to learn. Yeah. And I feel when I went through the FPU teaching credential program also, and that's what I got from them. And I still remember my teachers and all that. And that's why I came back and got my master's degree here. I mean, I was looking at Fresno State too, but I go, you know what, I want to go back to FPU. And everything I've had is positive experiences with them here. I mean, everybody has a passion to help, just to help each other out. Help out and grow and learn and then learn how to help others out too. And just starting the program, that's how I've been. And I talk to other teachers that are also working on master programs in other spots, and they're always mad. I look at them, they're like, you all right? I go, no, I'm good, I love what I'm doing. I mean, to me, I love learning. Something new, it's a challenge. You have to feel like you're saying, and yeah, you learn from it and move on. Yeah, but yeah, the grading thing, I don't like it either. I see kids, and all they ever look at is, what did I get? What a grade? Oh, I got a D again. Or I got an F. I go, but look what you learned. I don't want to give them that, but that's the first thing they look for. They look for that red pin.
They do. Tony, tell me, did I tell you what specifically I'm doing for my dissertation?
Yeah, I think you wanted to use like I can't remember. I think when the first one we did on this, you were telling me what you want. And I thought about that too. I thought about using that.
Obviously, I'm really passionate about it, so if I could share it again, and I'm sorry to bore some of you, I want to put levels on the progress report. So kids start at level 1, and then they go to level 2, and then they go to level 3 as they earn points. And so we can do short-term goal setting with them, and they're always making forward progress, and we can celebrate success. Yeah. I think it's important to celebrate with kids.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So sorry to bore you with that again.
Oh, it's not boring at all.
So at Fresno State, I teach pre-service teachers. My class is the prerequisite to get into the credential program, and I don't do points. There are no points. And so if I taught this class, I would do the same thing. And my categories have no percentage. And I just say, you know what? I think so carefully about every assignment and every activity. Nothing is just like, oh, I'm just going to do this. Like, I don't do that. I think really carefully, and I will be the first to cancel something if it just feels like busy work, because I hate that. I don't want to do stuff. And so I really carefully plan every part of that course, so it's important, and you can't skip it. And it drives me bonkers that mathematically you can just kind of, participate in whatever, and then get a 40% on the final and still get an A in the class. Like, yeah. How is it even possible that the thing that your final project, the final, the thing that demonstrates your overall learning, that you actually got something out of this class, that you can fail that and still get an A? That feels wrong.
Right.
And I don't value tests. I mean, who says that my test question is valid? I want to know the research behind that. So forget that. But regardless of which, if I assigned it because it was valuable, you need to do it. So I make a rubric that says these are the qualities of an A student, and it basically says here's all of the kind of major things that my class is about, and you do it all. It doesn't say you do them all awesome. It doesn't say you do them all at an A level. You do them all. And then I have badges, which is just extra things that you can choose from to go above and beyond. So it's things like you're consistently helping people in the class, that you attend a professional development activity. You do something to set yourself up as a leader in education, that you explore something you didn't have to, that you go, you show yourself as an A student, you do something to go to that A level, but I have a whole bunch of choices for how to do that. And if you guys want to talk about badges sometime, I'd be happy to. Obviously, I'm a gamification expert. It's so easy to do them badly. And so they're not required by any standard. And so anyway, that's how I do badges in that particular class. And it's a good thing I do not give the course reviews the beginning of the semester, because they'd all be really bad. Because it just really warps their brain. Like, what do you mean you don't give me grades? And I love it when the students are like, well, I don't want to lose points on this. I'm like, no problem, because there's no points to lose. But by the end of the semester, what they do is they accumulate all of their work onto a digital portfolio. So they all have a Google website, and I love that because they get practice all semester maintaining a website, which they're going to need to do for their classrooms, right? Just remember, these people have just barely graduated from college or about to. And so then they make an appointment with me and then Dr. Nelson, who's my teaching partner, at the end of the semester, and they show me their work, and they tell me what grade do they feel they've earned against the rubric. And I can't tell you how many times I've had a student, if I just look at their portfolio, I'm like, it's a C or it's a B, da-da-da. But then they sit there and they explain how they really struggled through this and the things that they did and what they had failure at and what they were successful at. But more than that, how they've connected what they've done in my class to other things that they're doing.
That's what we do at our high school. I was wondering if you had heard about our personal brand equity presentation.
I have not.
Oh my gosh, I have to give you the template. So we don't give finals at the end of a school year. Our students have a 30 or so slide presentation about themselves and exactly what you just said. They reflect on 3 projects that they did in English and all of their 3 projects in everything. They reflect on their relationships that they've improved with people, teachers. They get quotes from their teachers about them. They get quotes from their friends. They talk about the 90 days that they're going to have over the summer and how they're improving themselves in that way. Everything about that kid, and they stand in front of the class and they present. And we have a whole week dedicated to this. So the kids are, they come out of there. There's one that actually sticks with me the most. She didn't realize that she was being portrayed, the way she was portraying herself, she didn't realize she seemed like a mean girl to a lot of people. And through this whole process of her presentation, she realized, wow, I'm considered a mean girl. I didn't realize that. And it has opened up so many doors for these kids to see where their strengths and the weaknesses are, that it's so much better than any written final they could ever take. And the stress that goes with a final is not healthy. I'm sorry, it's just not a healthy thing.
No.
So when you see these kids standing in front of the class talking about their life and how their freshman to their sophomore year has changed their life in some way, that's more powerful than any test.
Yeah, I bet. I can't even imagine. That's way beyond. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, at our school we do a senior portfolio. That's a graduation requirement. So they're taking all their work at the end through their freshman, sophomore year, and they write an essay of introduction, a job resume, thank you, letters of recommendation, and all that. And that's part of the graduation requirement. You don't turn that in, you don't walk the line. And but yeah, it's a neat thing seeing the progress from their freshman to their senior year. I mean, and then at the end, they also got an interview with the panel with 2 people. They go over their portfolio, and then they talk to them about their portfolio, just like how you guys are doing.
Right. That's awesome.
That is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
My son's going to be a freshman, and I'm thinking, I know that they don't do that at his school. It's like a tradition.
I struggle with my kids' school. I always wondered what kind of parent I would be, and apparently the answer is a Clovis parent. I taught in Clovis for 14 years, so that kind of abuse is burned into me.
Well, nobody else is going to advocate for
there's a ton of charter schools, and most of them are not good, but there's some really good ones. My oldest daughter goes to Kepler, and I'm happy about that. And I love the principal at my other kids' school, but they are not innovating anything. I went to go pick up my daughter one day, and I went to check in on her, and when I found out she had a 7, I'm like, I'm taking her home, because I knew it when I walked into that class. I mean, she's in first grade, and the look of, like, depression and kill me now on every kid's face in that room. The teacher had left them a giant worksheet packet of ELA. A chaser to that was a 21-page packet of math worksheets. Now, I'm a math teacher. My kids are really smart. My daughter, that stuff was way below her level. It was way below her level, and that's what she was being asked to do that day. I'm sorry, that's wrong.
I hate worksheets.
I own worksheetsuck.com.
Do what?
I own worksheetsuck.com, or at least I did until recently. I think I let it expire.
They're fine in a small amount, but I hate to see little kids get a stack of worksheets. It's just sad when they're that little. They need to play, they need to learn, and do other things. They just can't do worksheet after worksheet after worksheet.
Yep.
They're good for certain things. That's true.
If I can disagree with you in the most polite way, and right now this whole hangout right for me is wigging completely out. Is it wigging out for anybody else?
No.
Okay, it's like tiling and like little squares and like, you know, like those puzzles where it cuts it up into little pictures and scrambles it?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it looks like right now. So,
Hey, move.
so I don't know if any of you read my Edutopia article. I will post it to the Google Plus community. But I wrote a post on play sheets. So here's the problem that I have is when I'm doing my research, and because my research is so cutting edge because it's in gamification and that's a relatively new field, the vocabulary has not been developed yet. And so I read a lot of research on game-based learning. It's not game-based learning. It's people playing Math Blaster. It's a worksheet. It is a worksheet. It is a math problem that has, when you get the right answer, a ninja kicks it. Or, you know, you blow it up with an asteroid. But what the heck does the laser beams and spaceships have to do with 5 times 7? Nothing. It's a worksheet. It's a worksheet. So that really drives me crazy that people call that game-based learning. That's not game-based learning. It's gamification. It's applying gaming mechanics to what we normally do. Yeah. And I wrote an Edutopia article recently on 5 benefits to play sheets. And here's the thing that drives me crazy. If I have a kid who, let's say to my class, I assign everybody 10 problems. Number one, that's felonious because like every single kid in the class needs those exact same 10 problems. I doubt it. But let's even go with that. So they come back and I'm like, oh, you are so close. This is so good. You're just missing this one little thing, like these just this negative. You're just making this one little mistake with the negative. You're like, let me show you. Okay, you got that right? Can you redo that? Laugh now. No kid's gonna redo it, right? Are you guys there?
Yeah.
I just had a pause. I didn't get the punchline.
It's like, oh, I'm serious. This thing is completely wigging out right now. Like, no kid's gonna redo that, right?
Right.
So demotivating. And so the key here is immediate feedback. Like, I don't get this. I do a worksheet and it doesn't tell me if I'm doing it right. What a freaking waste of time.
Right.
If you're going to give a kid a worksheet, it should be on the computer, it should be digital, and it should grade it on the spot. That kid should know, do one question, know if they did it right. They do it wrong, they do a second question, try it again. Get it wrong, stop! Don't do anymore. Ask for some help.
Practicing it wrong.
You shouldn't practice it wrong, and you shouldn't be discouraged. That's wrong. That's my opinion. It's wrong. Yeah. And so that's what technology is for. Technology can save kids from that. Okay, that's my rant. We should not do paper worksheets. It should all be digital. It should all be digital. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Or have them create it themselves.
Whatever. I just want. If the computer can grade it, it should.
Yeah. Right.
If the computer can grade it, it should. And then what does that allow you to do?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it gives you the time to walk around and be one-on-one with kids.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, have those relationship building moments in the middle of class when, you know, you got them at the time that, you know, they are paying attention.
It means you're no longer the answer key. You're the facilitator.
You guys have like the best quotes of the night.
I don't want to be the answer key. It's too tiring and it's ineffective.
Yeah. So much better when they come out with their own. They answer it themselves.
Yes.
I mean, it's in the SAMR model. It's augmentation. Let's be honest, right? It's not. It's the same freaking worksheet. It's the same one.
Yeah.
But when I have on multiple times when I switched to using play sheets, so I do all my work in. I typed everything up into Kia.com, QUI.com. I will type that in here. Thank you. I have had an opportunity where I sit in class for 20 minutes with the same kid. And I don't worry about the rest of the class. They're all on task. They're all on task. I don't worry about them. Because the computer is grading and giving them that feedback. And when they get it wrong, they raise their hand or they text message me because I use Google Voice, and I go help that kid. But I'm able to sit one-on-one and get to know a kid because teaching is not about content. It's about relationships.
Relationship, yeah.
And it's powerful. And especially as Christians, I mean, is there anything more important than letting a kid know that you care about them?
No, there's not. No.
No, because after that, everything else falls into place.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So Andrew has a question about a crossword puzzle that is a worksheet. Andrew, do you want to, talk about that? What do you think?
Nope.
Silence.
Anybody else?
I wonder.
It is a worksheet. Unless she's talking about doing them online, I guess. I don't know.
You can do them online. Kia, by the way, I love Kia. Allows you to make your crossword puzzles or, the word searches.
Yeah.
Digital crossword. I mean, there's lots of online places to make a crossword. The power of immediate feedback. There's so much research on that. Immediate feedback.
If you don't have technology, then I have found that if I put them in groups and they have the answer key, at first they're confused why they have the answer key.
That can't be possibly what I'm looking for.
and some of them initially want to just cheat. But it allows me to go around and it gives them a certain comfort level to try and fail. Because they know that they have the answer ultimately. So the focus is not on the end, it's more on the process.
Right. It's got to be in the process. Did you guys read the Catlin? I'll post it. It's a really short blog post by Catlin Tucker where she has this epiphany about teaching English.
No.
And basically, the sum of it is, it's not about the end product. It's the process in the middle. So she used to take her students down to the computer lab, and she would open up 40 tabs on a Google Doc. So all 40 of her students are working on an essay, and they'd have the chat box, and she just going through each tab, chatting with the students and helping them. And she's like, you know what? That's not good enough. I need 3 days in the computer lab. And I'm going through and I'm inserting comments and I'm helping them develop. She's going through each tab, but now she's looking at their work, and she's using the Google Docs commenting feature to give them specific feedback. So by the time they're done, you don't need to turn it in. Right. It's been about the journey to get there.
Right.
Right. And we, our principal calls it real-time grading, and it's you're actually going. And we've got some teachers that prefer to have a clipboard that they're marking something on their clipboard so that they put it into their computer later, but then there's those that use their iPad and they do it right then and there. But it's you're in with the kids. You're not a separate entity, and you're sitting with them. I sit with my kids. They know. We need to have some extra chairs around so Mrs. Drozen can sit down with me or they'll just know, oh, she's going to sit with so and so they move because they know I'm going to be sitting with them. So, and it's real-time grading. It gets done, and I'll tell you what, you don't have to take anything home and grade it, and it's done, and they've got an idea of how they've done in that 80 minutes that they've been with me, and how I'm expecting, what I'm expecting for the next time I see them.
And too. I mean, it's because then what you need, for them, and
once you turn over the paperwork or the worksheet to the students, they stop thinking about it. It's your responsibility now, and they're no longer even trying to vaguely remember it until they get it back. And even when they get it back, they don't want to reassess. They don't want to. So it's a forced process, but they will enjoy the process if you demand it.
All right, so you guys have exceeded my expectations and my feelings that I can cancel Module 4. So Module 4 is about giving feedback. and I think that we have definitely covered that in a way that I feel really comfortable that I'm going to cancel it. Okay. And so what I want you to do then is to focus on doing the MOOC, doing the search MOOC, and working on the final project paper, which I know, Gigi, it's not an exciting project.
Say that again.
I like writing papers. Maybe I'm weird. And I saw that you guys were confused about the topic.
You're special and unique, like everybody.
What I want you to do is to find a topic of something that you're passionate about, and I have to believe that there's something about this course that really resonates with you. Giving kids feedback, helping them to be good citizens, that they need to know more than just read, write, and arithmetic, but how to really use technology well. And how does that relate to your classroom specifically? And then I want to back that up with, I don't like to say, well, I like to have some research behind that, and that's me. Like, I want to look up some research that says that my feelings are validated, and that these things that I'm doing in my classroom is research-based. And so that's why I'm doing a research paper. Have you guys do a research paper, although I'm having you guys partner up, is for you to think about something that, out of the whole list of stuff we're doing in this class, search is the new literacy. Whatever. Feedback, the importance of feedback. Just go look at the syllabus and the topics that we cover and think, okay, how does this impact my classroom, and what research do I need to back up my crazy ideas? And I want it needs to be like really, 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 really specific. You can't do a research paper on a broad topic. That's crazy.
Right.
I even thought, for my dissertation, initially, and I have to write a 150-page paper, right? So initially, I just wanted to do like gamification of the gradebook, and I had all these different things I want to do. Giving kids choice and low risk of failure and the levels, and then I just kept having to narrow it because the research was just it's too much. It's too much. You need it to be so micro specific. I mean, really. So on that, so that's the other thing is to think about is really getting your topic down, what you want to do, and just think what kind of research would back up what crazy thing you want to do that's related to this class. And so if you want to like Google Hangout or chat or come up with a topic and the best brainstormer ever, we can do that. And so, and I know that I'm doing some like really crazy things, but that's kind of what I'm about. Is I don't know if any of you have ever seen Jamie Kasip. But I one time saw him speak. He works for Google, and he's talking about the iteration of just things. So when the camera came out, and you looked at what people were doing with the camera, is it looked just like oil paintings. People standing and it looked like an oil painting, but with a camera. But then you have these iterations of how that technology builds until you have sports photography, which no one would have thought about, where you've just got a picture of a guy's elbow grinding into the grass. No one thought of doing that, when the camera came out. And then you have the movie camera. Well, the movies look just like a play. And then you have all these iterations that you end up now with Avatar, with this 3D imagery and then, all these things. Like, you can't even picture where that technology is going to take you. And I feel like online learning, that we are in that iteration that it's going to be awesome, and it is going to be the future of education. And I believe with my soul of souls that online is more connected than a face-to-face classroom. I think the LMS is so linear. It drives me bonkers. It's so linear. The LMS of the future is not going to look like the LMS of today. No. And I refuse, and I'm sorry you guys get to be my guinea pigs, but I refuse to just toe the line and just do what the pedagogy of the LMS, that the way the LMS is set up is how we should do it. And I'm like, I really want you guys to feel like more natural conversation. And there's no good way to do that right now, but I've had really good success with Google Plus, with some of the other online classes that I've taught, and then also with my face-to-face blended class that I teach at Fresno State. But I think I've messed up because I had these calls to action because I hate the discussion boards. They're so fake. It's the fakest conversations ever.
Well, you never get to respond back, or you do, but it's so late. I don't know. I mean, I felt like there were things I wanted to talk to other people about in our last classes, and we just moved on.
We just moved on. I know. And so it's like, and it's hard because then you're asynchronous. So I don't know what the answer is, but I want to take the journey that I'm not going to accept the status quo, and I'm going to try something even if it doesn't work. And I hope that you will accept failure from me like I will accept failure from you. So if you do something and you go big, and go big or go home, right?
Yep.
So you're like, I'm going to try this big, really ambitious thing, and it blows up in my face. I will give you extra credit. No, I won't, because I hate extra credit. But I will give you credit because it's really about the learning, and if you can express what you learned out of it, that's good enough for me. So I have the calls to action in the reading because when I'm doing reading, like I'm reading the book for my online class right now, and there's just parts of it that are just boring, outdated, old, and wrong. And so that's why I wanted to do it in the Google Doc to like, well, here's some extra information that I think supplements this boring and old. And then I want to know, what do you think is missing, And just sometimes you just want to go, yeah, me too. And so I want to let you do that. But the calls to action are supposed to just await to some kind of like discussion starters in the Google Plus, so it can be ongoing and not necessarily contained. But the problem is it's hard to find in the Google Plus. And then everyone's kind of like posting their own thing rather than posting together. And so I messed up because I'm usually good about creating community in the Google Plus, and it's not working.
I think what confuses me is not knowing where to put it. Do I put this in discussions? Do I put this in, sort resource? Do I put that? That's the part that makes it confusing for me.
I make a category called call to action.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah. And I just think that I love reading the resources that everybody's putting in there. It's awesome. But we're not all putting it on resources, or we're, and so when you hover over that and you see that you've got 4 new discussions to read and 1 new resource, and you start reading and you go, well, wait a minute, that's not a resource, that's a discussion. Or is it?
Yeah.
Always kind of
categorize it.
Get everybody aligned to the same.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I guess, does it matter to you is what I'm trying to say.
It doesn't matter to me. I don't even filter it by that kind of stuff. Like I filter those things on the side sometimes. I just want to look at the announcements or some of those different things. And you can type in somebody's name, so you can just type in my name if you just want to see the stuff that I posted.
Yeah.
I don't do that. I just go through a couple of times a week and I scroll through and I see what everybody's posting and I try to respond to that. And what I like about Google Plus, and please again feel free to contradict me, is it just feels more informal, because I love to capture informal learning. I love people sharing, like, we were talking about this and I saw this over here, and it's just like, and seeing people get excited about connecting their learning to their own stuff, and I want that. That's what I want. I don't want a forced discussion. I want you to be excited about sharing things that you feel inspired about. So I didn't set up discussion boards for that reason.
Sounds good.
So, ponder on it, send me some email, or even just post to Google Plus publicly, please. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I want to get better, and I'm here for you. So post it on there. How can we do this better that you feel like I want you to share just your kind of ideas and things, but it's really important that we get used to reply, because if everybody posts, then just put stuff in there.
Yeah.
So as much as you can, like, reply to somebody and feel like your original post can be a reply. That's just as good.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, I'm totally with you. It's trial and error, and I love that. I don't know. Anyone want to help me with some new norms, or are we doing okay?
I mean, I lost the video. Can you guys still hear me?
It's all wonky. Don't worry about it. I can hear you.
Okay. I honestly am not very good with Google Plus, So this has been a big learning curve. I like the way it's going. I like when you put in the notes like, hey, take this direction with it. Don't just post, reply to it. So I feel comfortable with the pace, but I'm probably behind in my knowledge about it. I find it to be helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I think after the, I don't know if it was after last week or after I felt there was a point in time where you had kind of explained it a little better, and I was like, oh, I know what she wants us to do. I think it was just that I didn't know quite what to do because I probably wasn't, I'm sure I didn't read something or I just hadn't used it, but I feel like it's good. I like the whole idea of getting on there and doing it that way, like you said, where you don't have just a bunch of different posts, but follow a line.
Let me give the secret word is Fresno and give people permission to leave because it has been an hour. But I'm going to say something that drives me crazy is that professors think that you should memorize every word they've said or have ever written, or every nuance of every direction. I hate that. That's arrogant,
right,
and unreasonable. And so I am not going to, so long as you're not, okay, some people are really lazy, so I'm not talking about those people. If you're doing your best and I've read everything and I just didn't remember this or I'm not quite clear, I'm not going to try and make you feel stupid about it. I'm going to acknowledge, well, duh, you can't memorize everything. No. So, I'm sure you posted this somewhere is exactly it. That I don't expect, that's unreasonable that you would memorize and take to heart and know exactly what it is and be able to apply it all the time. That's crazy.
Right.
And so I expect that especially even with the Google Plus community, there's a huge learning curve. I'm asking you to do something completely new. Why would you do that right the first 10, 20 times?
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's not my expectation at all. And the bad part is we're going to start gelling like really good, and we're going to have some really good discussions in there, and the class is going to be over.
Yeah.
I literally have people cry at the end of, at Fresno State, because I have a Google Plus community. I'm like, you can leave the Google Plus community, and they're like, do I have to? Because it can be really meaningful.
Oh,
sure. It takes some time to kind of fill out the space, just like you're a new student at a new school.
That's funny because I felt that way today, that we're in the third week and I'm just really getting the swing of it and feeling the connections and the meaningfulness of the Google Plus. So I would like it if we could keep it up, but everybody's so busy.
Can I change nothing and we just kind of keep trucking, see how it goes, and then you guys just give me your blunt, honest feedback?
Yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I got a quick question for you regarding, so you said the module...
Again, I want to give everyone permission to leave. The code word is Fresno.
Yeah. For the module 4, I'm confused. I came in and you said something about...
Cancel it.
On
4 is about feedback. I think we had a really good discussion on feedback. Does anyone feel like we need to elaborate on that?
No, I think I'm good, especially if we can consider it for our well, we gave our submissions for our final paper, but are you saying tonight if we want to revisit what our outline is? And
of course.
Okay.
Okay, you guys might disagree with me on this, but 5 pages is nothing.
I'm sorry, say it again.
5 pages is nothing. I'll write 5 pages in a couple of minutes because I'm a doctoral student, so we have to write huge pages. 5-page paper! You're partnering together. So in my mind, and I'm sorry if this sounds condescending, I don't mean to be, just change your topic, whatever, it's 5 pages, who cares? And that includes the references.
Okay.
Not a lot.
And it's double spaced with 1-inch margins.
Right. It's all relative, though, right? It's all relative.
It's totally relative, and it's because I write them all the time, so I'm like,
right.
It's a free gift, it's only 5 pages! No, but you know what? I would hope that as you kind of go through and something resonates, change it. I don't care. Change it.
Okay.
And like I said, I want you to find something really, really specific that's specific to you and that you care about, and that you find some research to back you up so that when you're talking to parents and your administrators, you're like, that's why I'm doing it.
Okay.
Is that all right?
All right.
Okay. I really, really enjoyed talking with you guys tonight.
Yes. Thank you so much. Me too.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank
You know-
you.
Thank
Night,
you.
night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Samantha,